So, I guess if we can first kind of start off, talk a little bit about this weekend. A little bit of activity we had within a very short amount of time obviously has to be concerning to the department to just see everything that happened.
Sure. While we are at the same number we'd had this time last year, having 4 homicides occur over a single weekend is a matter of concern. It came up at this morning's crime meeting, and Bureau of Community Policing and Investigation and Sport are working on strategies to try and address it.
Anything more specifically you can say in regards to it came up this morning, talking strategy? We talking maybe some hotspot policing in these areas? What can you tell me about that?
Right, there's a variety of things that go into that. I don't want to talk about those right now, but there have been communication between my detectives and district detectives and myself and district commanders about the incidents, and Colonel Toole is working on a strategy to try and address it. We've gotten to the point now, especially with the help of the daily crime meeting, that we're pretty flexible. We can respond pretty quickly. We've got a variety of assets that we can put into play, and that's what's being put into practice right now.
A lot of these were in a very close together. Are we thinking that any of these are connected?
Right. Detectives are looking into that possibility. Of the 4, 3 of them occurred in the 6th district, the 4th one being in the 5th district. Right now, we don't have any information that ties any of those 3 or the 4th one to them. But certainly detectives are always open to the possibility that they might be related or related to some prior event. So right now we're at the beginning. They worked the scene. They went back and worked each of the scenes again. We're in the process of interviewing family members and acquaintances of the victims. So right now it's really at the beginning for each one of those investigations.
But it would be accurate to say that there was no evidence found at the scene that would link any of these together.
Right, not only evidence but also statements of individuals who we spoke with. Nothing seems to tie those 3 murders to one another at this time.
Is that, if they're not connected, does that make it actually a little bit scarier?
It can, because now you're looking at a multiplication of events as opposed to something that's ongoing that can be addressed quickly by taking a few folks off the street. But as I said, the number that we have this year is the same as we had last year. So we are kind of on pace for the same amount. But again, in the same vein, any murder is one too many. So each of these cases are thoroughly investigated. The detectives are invested in each one. They get to know the families. We work with the Homicide Minister Community Alliance. We go to the funerals. So they're very important to the detectives, and they put a great deal of effort into working each and every one of them.
We've done a few stories toward the end of last year about the Hotspot Policing. I know Chief Dotson during his interview a couple weeks ago was talking about that and really keeping that up and redeploying the officers. And anything you can tell me about what we currently have in that part of North St. Louis City, and if without getting into strategies, are we at least looking at putting more officers in that area?
Well, in regards to hotspot policing, the way that works is we track events, incidents by crime, location, day and time, similarities by how the crime might be committed, and then based on all that, we look at what assets might be most appropriate. It could be anti-crime regarding auto thefts. It could be most violent offenders, or RDU if it's robberies or aggravated assaults. So based on all those criteria, a particular type of strategy might be put into place. Different events might cause similar strategies to be put into place. So in North St. Louis, what we might see is an application of some of those different units put into those neighborhoods at specific times.
So would it be accurate to say that we're going to put more officers in that part of North City where some of these murders occurred over the weekend?
That's what's being looked at right now. So, and then we're flexible enough to do that pretty quickly.
Currently, what do we have going on there in terms of hotspot policing? Is that an area that you guys have been looking at until this weekend?
Right. I'm not sure where they had been most recently. I know that we had some officers deployed along the Kings Highway corridor. But as far as where special ops or some of the other units had been working over the weekend, I'm not really sure.
How important is hotspot policing?
Well, hotspot policing is important because what it does is it causes us to look at specifics of the crime, the date, the time, location, manner the crime is committed. We look at similarities or patterns that might come up. And then what it does is allow us to use limited resources in the best manner. So we can put people into a particular neighborhood or a small area during a particular time and target when things might be occurring. For example, we might have a string of daytime burglaries in a residential neighborhood. Once we determine that, we can quickly move to put people into that area, to patrol it, to stop individuals, to do pedestrian checks and FERS. This could lead to information for the detectives that might be able to clear a case.
Last question, parts of North City have cameras up, over the last year and a half.
Sure.
Antonio French has put up all these cameras in his ward, and he's seen that that's worked in his part of North City. Anything you can say, is there the possibility of more cameras throughout parts of St. Louis City? Is that something you guys are talking about?
Right, Alderman French's cameras have been very helpful. We've used them to help in some of our homicide investigations. Cameras at any location are helpful, whether it be paid for by the city or out of some grant, or by private companies or businesses. And one of the things that we do on our area canvas is to look for those. But they are going up in different locations. The West End has a number of them. The downtown neighborhoods do as well. But it's something that we would encourage businesses to have out.
So it really can make a difference for you guys. I know Antonio French was saying yesterday when I interviewed him that it's kind of like this this unidentified witness that doesn't have to worry about something happening. How, the more cameras up, the better, or how would that help you? Right,
the more cameras are better. What we have in homicides frequently are witnesses who provide us with information but are fearful of retaliation. We've even had people say, don't knock on my door, don't come back. I've been retaliated against because I was seen speaking to you. So having a camera allows for, like you say, an anonymous person to be there and to show exactly what happened without any fear of retaliation. They're very powerful in the courtroom when people are able to watch a video and see a suspect in a particular area committing a crime, whether it be a robbery or leaving the scene of a burglary or a homicide. They're very helpful. But certainly, witnesses are important as well. We can't put cameras everywhere. They're expensive to put up and to maintain. Individuals, whether it be a resident or somebody who works in a neighborhood, are still an important part of this whole effort to reduce crime. The police department has put a great deal of effort into patrolling all the neighborhoods, but we're only one piece of the puzzle. We need the circuit attorney's office, and we need the citizens to come forward and work with us so that we can identify suspects, have testimony against them. If anybody has any information regarding these homicides that occurred over the weekend, or any homicide or any crime, I'd encourage them to contact CrimeStoppers. They can do so anonymously. You never know, Citizen never knows. What small tip they might have could be the difference between solving a crime and not solving a crime. And all those tips come in, every one of them is examined, and it's like putting together pieces of a puzzle. We work the scene, we work witnesses that might be present, and then that last piece could be a phone call coming in that might lead us to some piece of evidence or an additional witness.